Hello guys, recently I was working with WordPress. I had to create a scraper and fill the data into the WordPress, so I have to discover the database. I asked another guys from the C world, C# world, and from Java world to do the same thing. They did it, but not completely, and they said that this is another PHP nonsense. I mean the database theme of WordPress. But you cannot say that. This is the most successful platform in the planet for CMS, for posting, and not only for that, but for e-commerce as well. So how come this system is so flexible? Let's analyze it and let's discover that. Okay, so let me do this. Let me install WordPress and add one article and one post through the database, not through the interface. This is how we are gonna start. Okay, so let's first look WordPress. Let's download and install it. So I will make a search for WordPress, grab the last version and install it. WordPress.com, create a website. This is something else. WordPress, I don't want to use WordPress.com. I wanna download it. So WordPress download and voila. Download WordPress 4.1. This is the URL, WordPress download. This is where I'm gonna download the WordPress from. Okay, download WordPress 4.1. Okay, it's already downloaded. Show in folder. Come on, show in folder. Not very patient for the computers. Show in folder, WordPress 4.1. Okay, let's put it in my XAMPP folder. Computer. Let me find my XAMPP. Not gonna use this time ports. Gonna use it as a subfolder. Oh, I have for WordPress 4.1 already, so I'm gonna create another folder which I'm gonna call WordPress 4.141 or 411. That's not very good name. WordPress 41. Okay, 411 or N at the end. Okay, so let's be this way. WordPress 4.1D, because I already have it. So I'm gonna move it here, extract everything what is in the zip file, cut, put it here. So this WordPress I don't need, and WordPress 4.1 I don't need either. I'm gonna delete this, and here we go. This is the folder with my brand new WordPress. So let me start my XAMPP, prepare the database. This is how I'm start my XAMPP. It's an old version, and I'm running on port 8081 for some reason on this computer. So I hope this doesn't bother you. Okay, let me start the command prompt. Go to XAMPP, MySQL bin. Actually, this is not the main topic of this tutorial. MySQL -u and my password. Show databases. create database WordPress 41n. WordPress n comes from new. Create database WordPress n. Maybe this is not the best name, but this is what came to my mind right now. Okay. Show databases. Here we go. I have it already. Has been created. Use WordPress 4.1 and show tables. We don't have tables. Actually, this is where we are gonna work in this database. Okay, once the XAMPP is running, now I'm gonna go to localhost 8081. As I said, I'm not running on port 80 for some reason on this computer. And I'm gonna go to phpMyAdmin, and I'm gonna look at my newly created database. Here we go, WordPress 41n. It should be empty, absolutely empty. Okay, let's start installing our WordPress. Let's see what tables do we have and why some people think that this is another PHP nonsense, but in fact they're not right, because this, as I said, is the best platform for blogging, for CMS. It has proven itself in the network. Okay, so let's go to localhost 8081 WordPress 41n / boom. Let's see what happens now. Oh, here we go. Okay, I'm gonna use United States English. Continue. Welcome to WordPress. Before getting started, we need some information on the database. You'll need to know the following items before proceeding: database name, I know it, database username, database password, database host. My database doesn't have a password. Database host, it's a local host. Table prefix. If you want to run more than one WordPress in a single database, I have a separate database, as we can see here, so I'm not gonna use a prefix, or at least I'm gonna take the default one. In all likelihood, these items were supplied to you, blah blah. So I'm self-hosting it. WordPress database name, it's called WordPress 41n. Username is root. Don't do like that on production. Password, I don't have a password. Localhost, and the prefix is gonna be WP. Why I'm doing this tutorial, why I'm not creating a post, because it's taking me less time, or at least I think so. And one picture worth 1,000 words, as they say, and I have a lot of pictures per second, so probably it's better with tutorial. I may create a paper as well, or a blog post, so submit. Alright, Sparky, you have made it through this part of the installation. WordPress can now communicate with your database. If you're ready, time now to run the install. If you're ready, time now to. Okay, site title, I'm gonna call this for example tutorial. For tutorial, username, my username is gonna be admin, my password is gonna be password. I have nothing to hide here. In any case, this installation will be removed when I finish with the tutorial. Your email address, I'm gonna put Stoyan at example. I'm not gonna receive any emails right now, not planning to do that. Example.com. Allow search engines to index this site. Okay, I don't care about that, so install WordPress. I hope it's not taking too much time. Let's see what happens. Username admin WordPress has been installed. Where you expect more steps, sorry to disappoint. Okay, that's perfect. You're choosing password, login. Admin, my password, WordPress 4.1n, VP login, PHP, login. And that's perfect. It didn't take much time. It actually was very, very quick and easy, 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 like a breeze. Here we go, the front end. For tutorial, hello world, I have a brand new WordPress installation, but that's not the point. Okay, let's look at the pages and the posts I have right now. All posts. Hello world, I have one post and how many pages? In the beginning, actually, WordPress was only a block system. It didn't have pages, but after that they decided to add pages. Post and pages are very similar, so posting system, blogging systems are in fact CMS as well, content management systems, because blog posts and articles are very close, and we will see that not only they are very close. In fact, so sample page, okay, and post. Let's take a look at the database now. Okay, so I hope that this works. Here we go. Yeah, that happens to this computer from time to time. So here we go. This is a brand new installation, and those are the tables we have installed after the clean install of WordPress. WordPress comment meta. Notice this. This is quite important. Comments, links, options, post meta, posts. Meta again, posts and meta, comments and comment meta. Terms, term relationship, term taxonomy. This is about the categories and the index, the tabs. The tabs and the categories are very similar. In the beginning, WordPress has only categories without tabs. But I found a very interesting comparison, and I totally agree with that. So why do we use categories and why do we use tabs as well, and what's the difference? Categories, if you compare with a book, are like the content, the index of the book. The first page, when you can see how the articles actually and different topics has been organized, and the tabs are more like the index. So the categories are a table of content. Let me make it bigger. Table of content, and the tabs are index for a book. So this probably explains the things. So again, let's look at users and user meta. First of all, the tables are properly named, I guess. I totally agree with this naming convention, even though there are many naming conventions and styles. I like the styles because one table represents many entities, so it makes sense to me to be plural. But notice this user meta, so users, user meta, and probably you think that if there are so many plugins and WordPress has so many different faces, there are a lot of tables, but that's not true, not quite true. And thanks to the approach they have taken, it's partially scheme-full and schemaless approach. Actually, we can see here that they use a NoSQL or key value approach, and this gives them a great flexibility. So they don't know how the people will use this platform in advance. So if you don't know, you cannot create your scheme, but you just have to allow the people to be able to create whatever they like. So we will see how did they achieve that. Okay, let's start with the comment meta. In comment meta, we don't have anything. As you can see, browse has red X, which means that the table is empty. But those are the fields: meta ID, comment ID. Notice this comment ID, and after that meta key, meta value, meta key, meta value. Does that sound familiar? It's a key value database. It's a key value database which is actually NoSQL. This is the heart of the NoSQL databases, which are many different different types. For example, I was looking lately the OrientDB, which is a graph database, no SQL database, but it's a graph database. We have key value database here. Okay, so comments. Now you can see here the specific fields which represent the properties of this given entity. Comment ID, comment post ID, which is a foreign key from the table post, because each comment is linked to a post, one-to-many relationship. In this case, looking from the comments is many-to-one relationship. Many comments can belong to one post. Comment author, Mr. WordPress. Notice this, we don't have a foreign key here. Comment author email, comment author URL, comment author IP, comment date, Greenwich Mean Time, GMT, comment content, comment karma, I don't know what that means right now, comment approved, comment agent, comment type, comment parent, user ID. Okay, so actually we do have a foreign key to users table. This is a foreign key to users table. Okay, so if you're a known user, if you log in actually and you leave a comment, probably this field will have a value. It's not gonna be 0. Okay, in any case, that's about the comments. There are not that many tables. Links, again, empty, absolutely empty. WordPress options. In the WordPress options you can find the configuration of the WordPress. Look at here. If you move your WordPress site, those are the fields which you have to change. And again, it's key value database, option name, option value. It could be called, for example, meta key, meta value, option name, option value. Probably they didn't change the name and they didn't call it meta key, meta value because it has been inherited already, and it's very hard once you call something in a software which is so much used to change something. Option name, option value. So key value, key value, key value. Site URL. So if you move your WordPress to another domain, what you have to do is change this value, and you have to change the home value as well. So if I move my WordPress to another folder, I just have to change the URL here or another domain. For example, not only folder, but I can move it to another domain. Block name for tutorial. Immediately I can change, of course, here the name of my site, block name, blog description, just another WordPress site. So I'm free to make changes directly into the database. Our goal is here to look at the structure of the database and after that discuss it a little bit and figure out what's the most successful actually approach to create a scheme and have the best from NoSQL and SQL databases. Because Martin Fowler was talking about the fact that NoSQL databases are taking the world by storm, which I totally agree. I like very much NoSQL databases. For example, I'm using MongoDB, Couch. The first one which I was using was Cassandra. And now I will take a look at the OrientDB more in more details. But at the same time, it has some disadvantages. So the best probably is the combination between relational database scheme full, if I can call it this way, and schemeless database. This is the opinion of Martin Fowler as well. Because with regular or ordinary SQL database with scheme, which have a schemes, it's very easy to make joins, it's very easy to query, to find whatever you're looking for directly into the database using the relational database management system directly. Otherwise you have to use the help of an application. Stoyan example. In any case, the combination between the schemeless NoSQL database and SQL database probably is the best, and we'll see here they have exactly that. Start of the week, I'm not gonna look all these details. My example, login example. So here we can change, for example, the SMTP server login, my mail server login. As you can see, you don't need the plugins to do that. You can do it manually directly in the database. Links update, date format, time format, blah 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 blah. So all the options are here into the database, which makes them very easy to be changed. Block chart set, UTF-8, active plugin. This is a serialized object, maybe array. RPC, Pinkmatic, Pink site, blah blah, 2050. This is the template, as you can guess. So you easy can change the template from the database as well. We'll change the template just in a few seconds. Let's do it actually, and after that look at again these values. DB version 3133, subscriber, blah 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 blah. Let's change the template just for fun to see how everything looks. Okay, so appearance, themes, call it templates, they call it themes here. 2015. Okay, let's go to 2014. Activate this and let's look at the database. It was 2015 and we just change it to 2014. Here we go. The chosen one is the first one, the active one. It was 2015, now we switch to 2014. Okay, let's go back. Let's just refresh here, options, go to second page, and we'll see that this has been changed. It's very easy. Options, it's a key value database. 2014. It's very easy with relational database to create NoSQL database. In fact, key values is very easy to create, as you can see. So you can use the advantages of NoSQL databases into a relational database. Google Chrome has stopped working. Okay, so I'll start again. Relaunch now and restore. Yeah, it happens on this computer. Sorry about that. I hope it's gonna hold until the end of this tutorial. WordPress download. Come on. Okay, here we go. Let's go to the second page of the options. And here we go. 2014, how this looks in the file system. htdocs, new, include admin content, themes. Here we go. 2014, 2015, 2013. Okay, so 2014, and here we go. The front end should look different now. Let's refresh it just to show you the new theme. Hello world, I like this better. Okay, let's stick with this theme. Here we go. Now, posts. Let's take a look at the posts now. In a few seconds, let's finish with looking the options. HTML type, text HTML, blah blah, blog, public, and everything else you can find here. So you can take a look into the options table if you want to change the configuration of your site. Mystery. Okay, let's go. User roles, as you can see, they again array. That's a serialized object saved directly into the table, and if you know how, you can change it. It's very easy actually. This is the number of the symbols or the characters, and this is the actually the value of this string. So it says string, which is long 5 characters, and here we go. So if you change this value, you have to change the number of the characters in the string. A S again a string with length 0. A1, blah 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 blah. So let's take a look. the rest of the options just to document them in the tutorial. That's it. I'm gonna go in the beginning on the first page. That's it. So this is about the options. Very important table. It's worth looking this table. So let's look at the posts now. Everything actually gets recorded into the table posts. You'll see that everything is a post. Everything. Even the products, because soon I'm going to install WooCommerce to show you how they use WordPress and where the flexibility comes from. You'll see that even the products are posts. The pictures which you upload are also posts. Everything gets recorded here in the post. And if you think about it, you'll find the rationality which stays behind that. Because what do we have on the web? On the web we have publications, posts, articles, or if you wanna call them messages, that's also fine, or documents. But at the end of the day, what they are? They're just bunch of text which shows you, and it makes you think for it differently. It makes you, the application makes you think about it differently. It's just text, nothing else. Text, even the images. The images are just URL. Even if you have, let's say you have a movie, in fact it's a HTML. Behind this movie there is a HTML, so it's again text. Everything is a text. So if we think in the terms of the object-oriented programming, in fact, this is not UML. This is just something free. So everything is a text. Everything is a text, and we actually make our users think about this text, that this is a post, this is an article, this is a product, this is whatever. And this sub objects, if we're gonna call this super object, they just add extra properties to the properties of the super class. It's a super class, and those are subclasses. And as I said, article and post actually are so similar that they don't even need to be subclassed differently. In fact, they don't need to have subclasses at all. Okay, so let's see here. ID. Each piece of text, which in this case we accept as a post or article, has an ID. Post author. This is a foreign key from users table. Post date Greenwich Mean Time, GMT. Post content. See, it's a text, nothing else. Post title, hello world, sample page. Draft. Post status, published, auto draft. Comment status, can the people leave comments? Open pink status. Post name, hello world. This is for the permalinks. And post modified, Greenwich Mean Time. As you can see, the drafts doesn't have a GMT. Post content, I assume it's GMT. Could mean something else, but what else could be? Post content. If somebody knows, please leave me a comment and I will change it. Post content filter, post parent, and here we go. The most important thing probably right now, post page. Okay, so this is the only difference. One field which says that this is actually a page and this should be treated as a post. But as you can see, and posts and pages, articles, which are more static, or at least we think about the articles as something which is more static than the posts. The posts are kind of newish things. They just follow one after another. So the block, in fact, it's nothing else but one website where when you put a new post, it just pushes the rest down it looks like actually queue. It first input, first output. So it pushes the rest of the blog posts down, and it takes their places on top. So it's one endless line of posts, of text messages, because everything here is a text, nothing else. And the pages are something different. Actually, we think about pages like something which is sample page, here we go, which just stays there. It doesn't get pushed down. Okay, so let's go again to the home page of our block. So hello world is the first block post. If I put another blog post, hello world is gonna be pushed down, it's gonna be moved down, and instead of being on the first place, it's gonna become second and third and fourth and so on and so forth. That's it, simple. But as you can see, internally there is no difference. The difference is only the type, post type, which, as you can see here, is not done with a validation table, just to guarantee the integrity. The integrity is left to the application, to the mercy of the application. So I, for example, can put here, instead of post page, I can put something like Stoyan. So post type Stoyan post. And if the page, the application doesn't recognize that, and it definitely doesn't recognize it, it is not gonna know how to represent this this text, which I'm gonna leave here. But as you can see, everything is a text. You can think it this way: everything is a text which we show to the member, and we somehow make him think about this text as a product, as a post, or as an article, but internally is just a text. So that's it. Okay, this gives us a lot of flexibility. Let's actually add another post manually. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy this URL, paste it here, open another tab with phpMyAdmin, so I can look here and just copy. I always have a hard time finding insert. And what I'm gonna say here is ID, the next one is 4, post author, unsigned. I'm gonna say the post author is 1, because we have only one user. We'll look at this just shortly. I'll say this is the time, or I can choose it from here. 8, done, done. Actually, I'll say that I have done it 21 recently, just done. I'll do the same here, 21, done. Post comment, content, this is the content. Okay, I'll say welcome to Stoyan's site. Okay, welcome to Stoyan's site, and I'm gonna make this post title. Let's copy this from here, hello world. Okay, I'm gonna say hello Stoyan. Excerpt. Different plugins interpret this differently. I'll leave this empty right now. Publish, publish, open, open. Publish, publish, open, open to pink. You'll see that creating a blog post or page is extremely simple. Post name, to pink. Post name, post name, post name. I'm looking for post name right now. Post title, status. Here we go. So it's hello Stoyan. That's for permalinks. Hello Stoyan to pink. Extremely simple. And here, notice this is another difference. The pages as a URL, GUID, it sounds to me like graphic user interface, but it's something else. GUID. I will put here, even though you don't put it properly, it's not gonna hurt, but I'm gonna do it properly. GUID, and this is gonna be 4. It's gonna be 4 post type, so that's it. Comment count. The type is post, as you can see, varchar. So how many methods do we know to guarantee the integrity of the database? The first one is actually to leave this probably to the mercy of the application. I will start like that. So the application should take care of these values. The second one is enum, which is specific for the database. The third one is to use a validation table with only one field, which is the name. In this case, I should have post page, for example, just to guarantee that nothing else is acceptable here for the value of this field. And the fourth one is with ID and name fields. So in this case, here I'm gonna put the ID and I'm gonna keep the names in the validation table. So right now this is left to the mercy of the application. I checked and I saw that there is no enum used here. So the application should take care of the integrity of the database. They should work in sync. They should work together. Comment count 0. Okay, that's it. So let's create it and let's see this post right now. So go, and here we go. We have a new post. We have a new post for which looks like the rest of the posts. Oh, I just forgot to say where the post was modified. This is not gonna hurt. We'll see that just in a second. So let's look how that looks now. The front end and the back end. So post, hello world should be moved. Hello Stoyan, and I can go there and read it. P4. Here we go. I think we did just a few seconds ago. How that looks now on the back end. Here we go. Hello Stoyan. It was created, we had just created it manually, which is just great. Categories uncategorized. Okay, let's discover these other options. Postmeta, look. For postmeta we have again key value database created here, if you want to call it this way. So this is the ID which puts together all the meta key and the meta values which could exist. So all the meta key and the meta values which are for the post number ID number 2 are united by the ID. They could be many, which gives us a great flexibility. And number 2, if you remember, is a page. So the page actually has a metadata, but the posts doesn't have metadata. Inherently they have been created first, and probably they come up with the idea about the meta later. So that's why I don't know how this happened. So not such a big deal. Hello world. Now let's make this a page. Let's make this text be interpreted as a page. What we have to do is just edit. I'm gonna correct the error which I made. I didn't put here the time for changes, actually for modified, when the this piece of text actually have been modified. 21 done. That's it. And now I'm gonna say page. If I like, of course, I'll say here page ID equals 4. But as you can see internally, they are absolutely the same. For the database, they look exactly the same. And let's look at now what happened. Boom. Hello Stoyan. So now my piece of text, whatever you like to call it, message, article, post, whatever, document, I turn it to be a page. It just few seconds ago it was a post. Now it's a page. It's just a different way of looking text, the very same thing. Hello Stoyan sample page. Hello Stoyan, okay? And now it's not gonna be listed anymore in the posts. It's gonna be listed where? In the pages. Let's go on the pages. Let's look at Hello Stoyan. Now it's a page. But if you look at the pages and the posts, even on the back end, they look exactly the same. Hello Stoyan. Okay. So, in other words, for each one of these pieces of text, I can add as much as I want extra metadata. I can add properties. So all the things, all the entities I record in WordPress in the posts table actually have the same properties. Part of the properties are the same. The properties ID, post author, post date, GMT, whatever. Everything what we see in the post table is common for all entities. But each one of these entities can represent different things. For example, it could be a page, it could be a post, it could be a product, as we're gonna see just in a few minutes. And they can have extra properties which are different from each one of these properties. Another for these entities, another way to do this is with subset tables. This is the way which Michael Hernandez in his book Database Design for Mere Mortals actually describes as appropriate thing to do. We'll discuss the databases when we finish with all this. With the discussion about the WordPress, we'll see what options do we have to build a database for a very flexible system like WordPress, for example, platform which you don't know what is gonna turn to be. It's like it's a polymorphing platform. It morphs its shape. It could be a e-commerce, it could be a blogging system, it could be a content management system, because with WordPress, as you know, you can build an ordinary website, not a blog. So what gives this flexibility, this polymorphic character of this platform? And this is what it is: table postmeta, which allows you actually to add as many as you want extra properties. So I usually like to think about an object as a sphere with these tiny spikes which represent the properties, like hedgehog, different properties. Okay, so part of these properties are common for everything what you create in WordPress, and we have seen them in the past. But the rest they're kept in a table postmeta, and they're different for different entities, which gives us a great flexibility. And I want to mention that with the modern technique which we're using, ORM, with the modern ORM technique, and especially with the data mapper, it's very easy to work this way. You don't care about the underlying level of persistence where your objects, your entities will be recorded, and all you need is just a data mapper which persists your object into the database. It doesn't matter how and where, in 2 tables, in 3 tables, or in only 1 table. It's absolutely transparent for you, and you have a hydrator and you have extractor of this data from entity to the database, and you hydrate your object from the database. And how you're doing this, it's transparent for you. All you know your application are the entities and the data mappers. That's it. So that's why you're isolated from the database and the realization of the database. Okay, so with combination of these techniques, actually you have a great flexibility. Of course, the final step is just to use the NoSQL databases, but I always was thinking, okay, Martin Fowler is proposing using the NoSQL database and SQL database. How are you gonna do that? Actually, we have to use 2 databases. This is one possible solution. Of course, I'm gonna use MySQL and MongoDB, for example, in one at the same database, in one and the same application. But do I need to do that? Actually, with the relation databases, I can mimic NoSQL databases, which doesn't have a scheme, and we'll see this just in a second. We'll see the options, and we'll have the best from both worlds. Okay, so postmeta, posts, terms. Let's look at the terms. Uncategorized, term relationships, object ID, term taxonomy, and term taxonomy. Term ID 1, parent count, term taxonomy ID. I'm just looking how one of our posts was attached to the category. Look at the flexibility here as well. The tags and the categories are using these 3 tables. They are the same thing. They're just interpreted differently. For example, you can say, okay, this term right now is category, but it could be as well a tag, uncategorized. Let's look. Term ID, uncategorized. Term relationships, term taxonomy, object 1. Let me see. Object. It's a foreign key, I guess, from posts, but I'm not absolutely sure. I'm just looking how can we confirm that. Let's look at the show create table WordPress terms. See what that gives us. Key name slug, primary key term ID, key slug primary. So I don't see actually here the constraint. I don't see any constraint. I can try, of course. Taxonomy object ID 1, taxonomy ID, term ID, taxonomy, parent count. We very easy can change this object to 4, for example, and see what happens. Object number 4. Go. Okay, so let's look at now what happened. Is categorized or uncategorized. Page attributes, blah 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 blah. Default template. Hello Stoyan posts. Right now, what is our text? It's treated as a page because we said that the type of this post is a page. So let's see now. Parent default template. Okay, let's turn it back to a post. Right now I'm gonna say posts, and I'm gonna say, okay, number 4. In fact, you're not a page, you're a post. Is that easy? Go here and say post. I'm gonna even change the GUID, go. Okay, let's go to the posts. Let's take a look at the posts now. And hello Stoyan, uncategorized. Here we go. So we guess it, and our guess was right. Was okay. Okay, so this is actually how you attach a post to a category. Uncategorized tags. I can create tags, of course, and I can attach the tags. And as you can see, the relationship is many to many. So one tag can be attached to many posts, and vice versa. One post can have many tags. The same for the categories. It's extremely flexible approach. Extremely flexible approach. Okay, so let's go back to terms. Term ID, term relationships, and I'm gonna change it back to 1. So uncategorized actually will be the category of the hello world. I will make the hello world, I will move the hello world post into the category uncategorized. And how I'm gonna do that, go here and just edit the many-to-many relationship, and I'm gonna say okay, object number 1, which is whatever it is. It could be, as I said, a post, it could be a page, it could be a product, it could be whatever you can think of. Any kind of entity belongs to the category uncategorized. Let me refresh here, let me look at the posts now, and uncategorized will be moved down to hello world. Hello world. Okay, of course, let's play a little bit. Let's add another one, object term. So I will say okay, my object is number 4, has ID number 4, taxonomy ID number 1, term order, I don't care about that. So go, term relationships, here we go, term order. Now my post is gonna become uncategorized as well. So posts, and we'll see that this post is uncategorized. So I showed to you how actually to add a post or article or page directly into the database, how to attach to different categories, and where can you find the information, how can you add more, in fact, properties, because in the database the properties are represented with the fields. If we look at the object-oriented world, we'll see that the properties are fields, represented usually with fields. Not, of course, some languages has a special syntax to represent the properties. For example, C# has such term properties. In Java they're represented with the accessor and mutator methods, with pair of methods, but they can be represented with fields as well. So okay, that's it. This is how we play with WordPress. And now I'm gonna install a WooCommerce and see how the WooCommerce is gonna look into the database. Okay, so let's go to posts again. Postmeta, postmeta, users. Let's look at the users. We started to look all the things we have here. User password, of course, it's this is the digest, the message digest, or the digital fingerprint of the password, of course, so nobody can see it, or at least it shouldn't be able. User login, we said we have only one user, which we called admin. And user meta, the very same approach, and all the properties, all the characteristics of the user can be seen in the user meta table, and they're specific for each user. You could have a different type of user, and you can have a different meta keys here for this user, for this type of user. Meta value admin, reach edit, true, blah 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 blah. So you're absolutely free to add or remove these meta keys, which are properties. So you can have in the very same table different entities. This is what I'm trying to say, I guess. Okay, so posts. Let's stay here and let's go to the backend. Install plugins. Let's search for WooCommerce. WooCommerce. Search. Install plugins. No, it's not search install plugins, of course. Install plugins, add new, of course. I don't have WooCommerce here installed, but right now I'm gonna do it. WooCommerce. Search for WooCommerce. So now I'm gonna turn WordPress from a simple blogging system, simple blogging platform, or content management system, platform for content management, into a e-commerce solution. And this is how it's done, by installing only one plugin. And you'll see that in database there are not that many changes. Only few tables will be added right now, and they're very specific. But for the products, which as I said are just text, like everything else, like the posts, like the articles, like the comments, for the products will be used the table posts. Just don't forget how many records do we have here. And now we are gonna install the WooCommerce. Okay, install WooCommerce, activate. It's that easy with WordPress. That's why it's so successful. Even though, as I said, the C# developers and the Java developers, they said, that's mess, that's PHP nonsense, another PHP nonsense. Actually, there is a lot of sense. Activate plugin. By the way, if you look at the options right now, you'll see that everything has been recorded in options. If you look at here somewhere, we'll find something. Maybe not right now, not on this step. So activate plugin. Somewhere in options is recorded that this plugin is active. That's all. You have to look at in options. And of course, when you download something like that and look at the plugins, you'll see it, WooCommerce. That's it. But as I said, we'll concentrate on the database right now. So the advantage of using the relational database, here we go. Wait, let me go to the last page. Here we go. We activate it, and here we go. WooCommerce default country, it allows each plugin, when it gets installed, to add its own configuration options into the very same table. As you can see, let me refresh and I will show you. As you can see, there are not that many tables which have been added right now. Attribute taxonomy, download products, order, item, meta, order item, but that's about the order, and where the products. The products will go in the pass. Tax rate, location. Those are the tables which you can not avoid for this plugin, but eventually you can write a plugin which continue using the posts and post meta, and you maybe don't need extra tables to create extra tables, so you save a lot of work for yourself, permissions. Okay, WooCommerce is a very complex e-commerce solution for WordPress, and I was recently looking that it's probably on the 3rd place or higher compared to OpenCart, CSS Cart, Magento, which is just incredible, which is just dedicated platforms for e-commerce. And this is This is possible thanks to the very flexible approach of the database, postmeta. It's a NoSQL database approach. I would call it, it's a key value approach. Okay, so let's take a look. Now, we were looking the options just to show you that all the options has been recorded in a table which represents the key value, which is just has a key value in it, nothing else. It looks like a NoSQL key value database. Option name, option ID, option name, option value. This approach still allows us to make a searches directly into the database without the use of a special application. We'll see just in a few minutes then other approaches, which is, for example, using the XML which you record into one text, long text, or JSON, or serialized objects. These approaches, which I just mentioned, the last three approaches with XML, JSON, and serialized objects, actually suffer one disadvantage. Is very hard actually to find something in them. You can search for a text. You can treat them as a text into the database using the tools of the relational database management system on this last possible level. Of course, the disadvantages are vanished when you use, for example, object relational mapping, and you transfer everything into a collection of objects, and after that you use LINQ in C#, or you use Hibernate query language, or in our case Doctrine in the world of PHP, Doctrine, for example, to make a query directly into the database, which is built by the entities directly into the RAM. Okay, in this volatile memory. Okay, but such things, such searches and sorts cannot be done directly into the relational database management system, and as you can see with this approach, key value, this still to the certain degree is possible. This is advantage, I think. So WooCommerce options are here right now. WooCommerce, shop catalog, blah 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 blah, everything what the plugin needs now, it's easily added to the options table. This plugin may need hundreds of options, not a problem. Use a key value and that's it. Of course, they are not easily sorted. For example, everything is a string here. So if you wanna sort them by price, for example, or something like that, which is integer or double or float, it's gonna be more difficult, but this is solvable, as I said, if we use data mapper, object relational mapping techniques, and I would recommend data mapper, of course. In this case, in this case, you don't care. You don't care about the structure of the database. You don't really. Okay, and the database can be built this way, or you can use NoSQL database, but I prefer this one. This approach is just perfect because it's a combination. It takes the best from the both worlds, NoSQL and the SQL databases. Okay, so let's continue now. WooCommerce just added its options. Let's go to the posts. Still nothing there, but because we didn't sell, install WooCommerce pages. And look at here. Now I just noticed that they call their products pages. Of course they are pages. For example, the shop and other things. Let's look at the front end of our application. Hello Stoyan. We just converted this to, if you remember the Hello Stoyan, we converted back to the post just to show the categories. And now I'm gonna say install WooCommerce pages. And let's look at what happens into the database. Wow, look at that. Now we should have products here on the left hand side, settings, credits, translators, blah 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 blah. And there are a lot of plugins on the plugin on the WooCommerce. So products, here we go. Appearance, products, just showed up right now. We can have products right now. We actually have products. Let's look at the pages. Cart, checkout, my account, sample page came with the WordPress. This is the only page which we had before. The new pages are cart, account, checkout, blah blah, and the shop. Sample page didn't exist before. Was there before, sorry. So those are the pages added by WooCommerce. This is what we're gonna expect. What else do we have? Let's look at the products. I think we don't have product yet, but let's see. No, we don't have a product. So let's refresh our posts and see what happened now. We were up to number 4. This is what we did manually. And now we see 5, 6, 7, and 8 added by WooCommerce. And what they are. Let's go and see. They're pages, 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 pages. So when I refresh the front end, I would expect here to have shop, cart, blah blah. Okay, so we do have it. Cart, checkout, my account, shop. Even the menu items are posts, are treated as posts. We'll see that. Okay, so how to hack WordPress could be called this tutorial. Okay, so let's create a product. How Stoyan. Let's look at, before that, let's look at the post meta. And remember, post ID number 4. This is my post, edit lock. Oh, some kind of a edit lock, so probably that's related to the concurrency, so no other one can edit it. I'm not quite sure, so I'm not gonna speculate on that right now. But as you can see, the pages which the WooCommerce added doesn't have any metadata. Okay, let's add a product. Add a product and let's see how the product will look like. Okay, I will say Stoyan because my name is very easy distinguishable. Stoyan, very easy, can find it in the text. Dismiss this. Stoyan product. Okay, I can have a price, for example. I will have 123.45, something like that. Inventory, shipping, link product, attributes, advanced. As you can see, we can have a lot of things. Variable product, a lot of products. I'm not gonna go deep into this, just wanna show you the different options which we can take when we build such flexible platform. I would recommend probably using this approach which WordPress uses. Of course, could be used NoSQL database. And let's see now, what do we have here? A part of the extra pages, we see number 9, which is nothing else but another text. Stoyan product, Stoyan. From the viewpoint of the table posts, is just another text, piece of text. And here we go, product. This is a different type, product. Localhost WordPress 4.11n post type product. This is the URL where we can access closed, pink status, closed, and everything else which one ordinary post or page has is there. The difference is postmeta. Look now, for number 9, how many extra properties which describe the characteristic of this entity do we have, because this is a different entity right now, but we discover a way to add different entities into the very same scheme of tables. 2 tables. The things which are common, the properties which are common for all the entities, are in the VP post, and the ID is used, here we go, all this 99, to unite the different key value pairs in this document, because this, from the viewpoint of the NoSQL database, key value database, is a document, and 9 create a collection, create a document, of course. Okay, and this entire table actually can be called a collection, and the documents and the different documents can be separated, and they are separated by the ID, the common ID. Purchase note, SKU. Where is the price? Let's look at the price. It's also here somewhere, I guess. Yeah, here we go. SKU 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the price. Strange, we don't have a regular price. Here we go. Regular price, sell price. Let me look at here. Did I enter regular price or something? Oh, that's the SKU, of course. I was thinking about the price. SKU, it's ST something like that. Inventory, shipping, regular price, and the sell price, regular price, and the sell price. Let's say it's 98.45. Right now we have a discount. Okay, so let's update that, and let's look at the database again. Postmeta. So it's that easy. It's that easy. Everything is super easy here. So all you have to do is create one entity, for example, in your application, define a class which represents the entity product, add all these properties, including the properties which are coming from the fields in the post, and after that create a data mapper. Just send the entity to the data mapper and say persist or save it, and it's its responsibility to save different properties in different tables, in this case in the posts and the post meta. But it gives you great flexibility. Tomorrow you can invent, for example, something else, not to turn WordPress into an e-commerce. You can turn it into a financial application. Not a problem at all. And your approach will be the same. All transactions probably could be posts. I can think about that right now. This is a pure speculation, because transaction is a very complex thing. Could be something different, but whatever you can think of, it could be put in a posts and a post meta. Is it properly named posts? I was thinking about that. What about the alternatives, which is a text message? So this table actually could be called texts. That's properly okay. Posts, we have already articles. Could be called messages, because at the end of the day, as I said, everything is a text which we represent on the screen of the user, and we interpret differently. We make him think about this text as a product, as an article, as a post, whatever. But if you are coming from another planet and you don't know anything about that, for you this is only a bunch of text. That's it. It's a text. Text, posts, articles, documents. This probably it's an Umbraco approach. Umbraco, by the way, is another content management system, and it's very flexible and uses the same approach. There is nothing, no posts, no articles in Umbraco. You create the entities on the fly. You just decide how many properties do you need this entity to have, and you just create them. But as you can see in WordPress, you have the same ability, the very same ability. It's a different world, Umbraco. I'm gonna even save this screenshot. Names, I'm calling this names. Okay, that's it. So postmeta, post. As you can see right now, WooCommerce gives us e-commerce, turns our WordPress into an e-commerce platform, and this is how the things are saved. The properties of the entity product. Partially they're saved in the posts table, and partially the rest, which are specific for this entity, which is product in this case, are saved as a key value into the post meta. If I attach, for example, one image to my product, or post set a future image, select file, I will say select the file. So let's go to the pictures, and this wonderful picture, I'm gonna attach it. This is what happens right now. Let's look at the database. The picture is also a post, is treated as a post. Look this. Post, we'll see number 10. Here we go. Again, has the very same properties as the posts, as the pages, as the product. It has a name, but it's attachment image JPEG. Attachment image JPEG. And I guess when I save it, and update, is gonna tell me it's attached to which object. In this case, as you can see, in the posts we just represent different objects. Okay, let's look at the posts again. Let's go down. Oh, it doesn't say that. Ah, it says it. I didn't notice this even before. Post parent 9. Okay, so this image belongs to the post number 9, and this post number 9 actually happens to be a product. It's object number 9, which actually happens to be a product. That's it. So this is a picture for the product. If we create a menu, navigational menu, we'll see the navigational items here. Okay, let's do that. At menus, I'm gonna create a new menu. Let's look at the front end. Sample pages, blah 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 blah. Okay, menu name, again Stoyan, because it's very easy to find it, and just it's simple. It doesn't you don't meet it very often. You cannot meet this name very often in the English speaking world, so that's why I put it. Then menu settings, automatically add new top level pages to the menu. Okay, let me do that. Top primary menu, secondary menu in left sidebar. No, I don't want that. I just want to be a top primary menu, save menu, and voila. It's not gonna change anything right now, but let's look at how the database has been changed. Oh, it changed. It disappeared. Howdy. Admin, hello Stoyan. Hello Stoyan, where are you? Menu, save, delete menu. Second the menu, blah 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 blah. Automatic top primary menu, automatically add new top level pages. Okay, I'll say let me look at first the database posts. Do we have 11? No, don't have yet 11. Add to menu. Save menu. In any case, trust me, the menu items are added here. Posts. Yeah, here we go. We have them. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 menu items are also posts. They're objects in posts. Navigation menu item, navigation menu item. Let's look at how the menu looks like right now. Here we go. My account, checkout, cart, blah 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 blah. So the navigational items are menu items as well. I'm just tempted to show you how the variation product look and all this kind of stuff. It's just decision the WooCommerce took on how to represent their products and their variations. Okay, let's say we have here product, and let's say that this product has different variations. We'll see these variations as new records. Let me take a look at the postmeta and see the postmeta. What do we have in postmeta? Do we have something about our navigational items? Yes, we do have menu item type, menu type, blah 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 blah. As you can see, everything comes here. Key value, key value, key value. This is the key. It may sound ironically, but the key value is the key. Let's say this variable product, let's say attribute size. We have size here. Come on. Save attribute. I just forgot to say something. Used for variations. Variations. This is out of the topic. Any size. We'll say here 98. Okay. So size something like that. Different sizes, variations, and all this gets recorded into the very same table. Posts. Let's come here and look at the posts now. Variation number 16, product number 9, variation. So everything gets recorded in post, because this is posts table, because this is the universal table for all objects, for all entities, if you want to call them like that. All they have a common properties, like the superclass, which has common properties, and after that the specific properties, which are very different, gets recorded as a key value into a table postmeta. The same approach is used for users. The same approach is used across the entire application, WordPress, which is just great. That's it. I'm gonna finish right now with WordPress and just look at the different options we have. If we want to build the same platform, which is how to say that, polymorphic platform as a WordPress. I will look at the Joomla in another tutorial probably, but right now I'll stick with WordPress. So, how many approaches do we have? One of the possible approaches is to use only one table. I always was thinking, what if I built a relational database system with only one table? It's absolutely possible to build only one table into your database scheme. You can call it entities, for example. This is the first approach. Entities table. Entities. So, users, posts, articles, everything will go there, and you'll have maybe endless amount of fields, because each property turns to be a field into the world of the relational database management systems. You have huge amount of fields. For example, validation table needs ID, needs a name. You can call it, for example, post type, and you have ID, which comes from the entities database, which is only one, and it's common for all the entities. So if you want to use it in another record, it's a self-reference actually link. The foreign key comes from the very same table, and so on and so forth. But each time you need another entity or another property, you have to touch the database, you have to touch this table and add a field, which is very bad thing. You always have to deal with the database. It's difficult. I don't like that. I don't want to think about the database and my persistent layer when I'm building my application. So this is on one side of the scale, if I can call it this way. This is the scale, and I'm gonna call this one table, one big table. One big table. Have one big table. On another side, actually, you can have a very normalized database, and I like to build such a database schemes. But in order to build very highly normalized database scheme, you have to be an expert in the domain. You have to spend quite a lot of time. I spent over a year in a company just to become a domain expert, to build a perfectly normalized database, and I'm still not sure that I covered all the properties in different entities, and I cover all the entities, because they kept coming back and asking different questions and asking to add different fields and so on and so forth. But in any case, I have to touch always the database. I have to change it. Not very often lately, thank you God, thanks God, but still. And this is not the case in the modern application world. Actually, you always start with the unpredictable things, and the application organically grows. So this is normalized database scheme. Okay, so what are the options in between, probably? Or maybe I shouldn't say in between, in this scale. What are other options? So the first option I mentioned is one big table. I solved the problem with this uncertain situation very easy. I created a key value, or even not even a key value, only values, one table with one field, which is big text or long text, in which I save XML. Actually, I had two fields there. One was ID and another one is the XML. Those are the two fields I have in a table. So each time from the form I get information, I just create XML document which I save in this long text. After that, sorting the data, it's very difficult. You always have to treat this as a string because it is a string. You have to use probably the tools for working with strings to extract something, or the best probably is just download all the XML strings, convert them to DOM objects or to objects, and in this collection do your sorts and do your searches and all this kind of stuff. It's very cumbersome, it's very difficult to work this way, but it's possible and gives you the great flexibility because, for example, if the customer comes and says, okay, listen, for the user I don't need only the username and password, I need address, I need a couple of telephones, cell phones, whatever, you're always ready to do that because you just add to the form these extra fields, and when they get submitted to your application, you put them in the XML document and you save the XML document. And on top of that, this can happen while the application is working. Part of the records won't have the cell phones and all this kind of stuff, this information. You can add it later. So it's a flexible way. Another way is actually to use serialized object. Instead of XML, to use serialized objects. Again, ID object. The disadvantage of this approach is not application agnostic, because the objects, Java objects or C objects or PHP objects, they're specific for the technology. So you can not extract the information from the database and use it in another application. Probably the combination of best of these two worlds is JSON. Again, ID, I'll call it number 4, is JSON, and this is the modern way we are working right now, because it combines the XML and the object approach, because JSON is nothing else but JavaScript object notation. It's a serialized JavaScript object with simple eval, could be eval eval could be turned to a JavaScript object. And most of the modern technologies, actually PHP has it, can convert JSON to its own objects, but in JavaScript that comes naturally and very easy. And also XML is a language for describing data. JSON describes data perfectly as well. XML gets converted to DOM, usually to document object model, and JSON also gets converted to an object or a collection of objects with simple eval. Okay, so this approach is actually can be united. This is a key value, and as a value you use serialized object XML or JSON. The table which you need is only key and value, ID and value. That's it. ID, value, that's all. This is how the table should look like. For example, this table, and you have two fields, ID and value. That's all. What else do we have actually? I was working actually on a workflow engine, and the workflow engine can have very different workflows, and each workflow is different from another one. they have different properties, very different properties. So my solution was to use XML. In the workflow table, instance table, because they are instances of the workflow. In the workflow instance table, I had a long text field in which I used to save XML. I could have saved serialized object, PHP or whatever, C#, Java, or JSON right now, but I was saving XML. We were saving actually XML as a string. Of course, there is here another option. You can serialize eventually a DOM object and save it, but I'm not gonna even mention that. So what else do we have? We could have this approach with the key value which they used in WordPress. Meta key, meta value. At one point we came to the conclusion when we are working on the workflow engine that probably we'll need a table. So I'm gonna create here a table. I'm gonna draw it. It's ugly, but I hope it works. So workflow. So this is the workflow, and we have the ID of the workflow, and we have a bunch of other common properties which turn to be fields, like data created, and whatever. Okay, and we came to the conclusion that we could have a different separate table with a metadata. Metadata, and we could have one-to-many. One workflow can have many records here in the metadata table. Where we have again ID, and this is workflow, for example ID, and we will have meta key, meta value, and this is gonna save a lot of troubles. As I said, our final solution was to use subset tables, but we could create such thing: metadata ID, workflow ID, meta key, meta value, and we perfectly see this solution here created here in the postmeta. What are the advantages and disadvantages of this approach? The advantage is that each workflow can have as many properties as we want because they are different. Also, they are saved separately in the database, and to a certain degree we can order them, we can do whatever we like. The first approach was with XML here. We had one field which is called XML. So this was our first approach I mentioned above. Workflow ID, meta key, meta value. So this was the second. And actually this is the option number 6. It's a subset table. Option number 6 is a subset table. I don't have too much real estate here to write, but okay, subset tables. Okay, so subset tables. This is another possible approach, and this is the approach we took because we were afraid that our customer probably will ask us to dice and slice the data, and also we were not sure about the technology which we are gonna use at that point. So we built the database first, and we had more than 1 year for the system analysis. So with subset tables we were safe. because only with the tools of the database we could query the database the way we like it. We can create very complex SQL queries which will extract the data the way we like it without any application. Without application, we can work only with the database queries. Of course, the disadvantage of this approach is that each time we create a new workflow with different properties, we have to touch the database and we have to create another table. So I'm gonna use the same schema, and I'm gonna say like that. Notice this, it's one-to-one relationship here with the subset table. This is the subset. I'm gonna call it subset 1, subset 1. So, and here we had all the properties. IDE is the very same IDE we have in our, if I want to call it this way, using the object-oriented terms, this is our super table, and this is our sub table, if you want to call it this way. This is our superclass, and this is our subclass. And here we have property 1, property 2, property 3, which properties for each one of the entities are different. This is subset for entity 1. We have another subset for entity 2. And if tomorrow they come up with another solution, with another workflow, we will create another table. But we have to touch the database. So this solution with the metadata, meta key, is a universal solution. It restricts you. You cannot query the database very easily into the database. You cannot sort it. Our main reason we didn't use this approach was that we cannot query, sort, dice and slice the data very easily with the tools of the database. But this doesn't mean it's not possible. It's possible at the application level, not at the database level. Here, with the subset tables, it's possible on the database level. Okay, so those are the approaches. XML, and those are the approaches for creating a flexible database. Probably the final approach, seventh approach, is the highly normalized database. Approach number 6 actually and 7 are the same. This is normalized database. In the case of a highly normalized database, you would do it this way with the subset tables. Normalized database. With a highly normalized database, you would do it this way. 6 and 7 are the same. This is the case of the normalized database. If you want to stay normalized, following the ACID principles, you have to do it with the subset tables. I just want to mention that in the world, in the object-oriented world, there are 3 different approaches to represent the hierarchy of the objects. When you have a super object and sub-objects, you have 3 different approaches. Single table inheritance, when you want to represent the inheritance in the database. Single table inheritance. This is one table. Let's imagine workflow, and all the properties for the subset 1 put in the very same table, for the subset 2 in the very same table. The disadvantage is that there are a lot of nulls, irrelevant fields, when you create one record. So instead of seeing so many nulls, you just create a subset table. Class table inheritance. With class table inheritance, for each class you create a separate table, exactly the way it's here on the diagram. Let me save this diagram, by the way. Names, approaches, and the last one, which I'm gonna look at right now. Here we go. This is the Martin Fowler single table inheritance, class table inheritance, and the concrete table inheritance. Instead of having only one table, or one table for the superclass and many tables for the subclasses, for each class you have a separate table which repeats all the properties of the superclass and its own properties. So again, let's repeat them again. Single table inheritance. In one table you have the superclass and the subclasses. Class table inheritance, in which this is the variant I draw, which I prefer. You have a superclass for the highly normalized database, of course, and when everything is set on stone and nothing's gonna change, which is not the real case, but okay, so superclass. For superclass you have one table, and for each one of the subclasses you have a subset table, a concrete table inheritance, in which for each subclass you have a table which also has the fields of the superclass. Okay, so that's very long, so I will wrap up right now. Hopefully this was helpful. Let me look at my thing here. Subset table, highly normalized, NoSQL, and of course NoSQL databases. Of course we can use NoSQL database instead of relational database, instead of SQL, SQL full, or SQL with schemaless. We can use schemaless database. So before I wrap up, I should probably summarize. So first, I showed to you how to install WordPress, which was inevitable. This is not the main goal of the tutorial. I show it to you how the things look in the database of WordPress, which is one very flexible platform for building blogs, websites, ordinary websites, e-commerce, and so on and so forth. Everything is a post, and in the post meta we have key value, which looks like a NoSQL database. This is a NoSQL database approach. After that, I showed to you how the post can be created, how the page can be created, how the product can be created, how the product with variations can be created, and lately we discussed all the possible approaches. One big table for the entire database, which is thing I had never done, and I don't think somebody did it for the production. The disadvantage is that each time the client comes with the new requirement, you have to touch the database. This is not desirable. After that, I showed to you that if we use only key value, or only values, one table with two fields, ID and value, or one table only with a value field, we can put XML inside, we can put serialized objects, or a subset of the serialized objects is a JavaScript object, which is a JSON, JavaScript object notation. After that, we look at key value approach, which is used here in the WordPress. After that, we looked the highly normalized approach with the subset tables, And finally, the sixth and seventh approach is just use NoSQL databases. But as I said, if you want to combine the scheme world, the database with the scheme, and no scheme databases, probably you can use the approach of WordPress. Thank you for watching. See you soon.